Hello guys, welcome to OverVolted, where our mantra is any machine can be a smoke machine if you run it wrong enough.
I don't.
I like it.
That's not bad.
All right, we are joined today by Jim
All right, guys.
and Matthew
Hi.
and Aurelian,
Hello.
and we are going to jump right into the thick of it. Everyone may have seen already that we actually pulled the video that Jim released this week because, well, we'll let Jim explain it. Go on.
Yeah, I made this video and it was half and half. Some of it was half based on stuff we'll talk about later in the podcast, based on Igor's labs, leaks on Ampere, the cooling system and stuff like that. So I did a bit of analysis on that and thought there's a lot of curiosity in that. Some stuff just didn't really add up so well. But the second half of the video was on what I called Big Navi information, in air quotes, basically. And as you can see, looking at the screen in brackets right next to that, I put salt required. I didn't really like this information a whole lot. However, there is enough there to just make me wonder about it. And so we can see on the screen, like, the die size, 514 square millimeters, is pretty close to what the TSMC guy said. 80 compute units, that is pretty much what everybody reckoned. I actually said in this video that the 512-bit bus was my speculation, and not very many people were going with that. And then we had 16 gigabyte of VRAM at 20 gigabits per second, 400 watt TDP, and then this thing, Titan tolerances for 3 code names, and then the revision A1. And in actual fact, this Titan tolerances thing was something that made me just wonder even more, because this is engineering speak, and I have seen AMD engineers use this language on forums in the past. But as soon as, it was literally like an hour after I put the video up, I was contacted by somebody who absolutely knows. It's a person, I can't give too many details on who this is, but it's somebody who knows about these PCB type things. And this Titan tolerances for this, these 3 things here, it just didn't really make sense based on what was told from this person. And they pretty much told me, look, you cannot believe this. You cannot believe this leak. So I went onto Twitter and said, I left a message on Twitter, or a tweet saying, just ignore the second half of the video. It's complete bullshit. And then I noticed, regardless of all the disclaimers that I put up, I said, look, these clock speeds look a little bit high and, grain of salt. And I said it over and over. But then I started reading people talking about 3 gigahertz clock speeds. And I thought, oh Christ, I'm going to have to pull this video just to nip it in the bud.
If you had run it past us too, we would have been definitely a good sanity check for you.
No, you did actually. You had a look at it and you said that you thought the clock speeds were too high. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the Discord, and Matthew, I think, was in agreement with that as well. And look,
Yeah,
I was in agreement
yeah.
with it as well. Yeah, I was in agreement that the clock speeds were just too high. I'm not showing the clock speeds here, but the clock speeds were given as 2,760 megahertz.
Yeah.
It's just hard to tell with like new arcs, because Vega's clock speeds went up pretty high compared to Polaris, even though it was on the same node.
This is the point, Matthew. I was giving you all these justifications. Yeah, I said,
Yeah, I know.
Look at the PlayStation 5. It's 2.23
Yeah.
gigahertz. Every graphics card based on consoles have been 20 to 25% faster than the actual consoles. And what happens when you add 25% to 2.2 gigahertz? You're just over 2,760 megahertz. So, I mean, I knew myself that the clock speeds were way too high, but I then justified it by saying, but what if that's just like, a very short duration boost, and the actual clock speeds are closer to 2.4, like the game clock, 2.5. And this is one of the things that I want to talk about here, because I have got the type of mind that would be able to justify anything with enough analysis. And that's essentially what I can end up doing in these cases. I just look, is this even possible? And it's funny because over at Reddit, somebody said the same thing. He said that these leaks or these fakes are getting they're just getting that bit more believable. They're getting a bit more sophisticated. I mean, using language like this, Titan tolerances. This is somebody who I believe knows what they're talking about. And these code names. Now, obviously, when you get a code name like that, the first thing you do is you search for it. I found nothing on the first one. And on the second one, this D41711XT, I found that Raw Game was actually, he had leaked something on Twitter. And then, in actual fact, after I spoke to Raw Game on Discord after this, and he told me that those code names, the way that they were written, the way that they were written in the video, was exactly what he had found. Although, the leakers on Twitter, when they're leaking stuff, they're not giving you the exact thing. You see APISAC doing that as well. You don't give them the exact strings so that nobody else... I mean, these guys, they want to be first to leak stuff. They don't want to give away, all their code names so that other leakers can find out where they've been. And that's the kind of thing that they were doing. But Raw Game told me that these 3 strings that are written here were exactly how it was when he found them. And you cannot find any of these, or we thought we could not find any of these anywhere on Google. And then what happened, Matthew? When you and I were discussing it. You and I just started discussing.
The Scotland Yard reached out to me because I have a very good detective career. I've played all the Phoenix Wright games, that kind of stuff.
Sherlock
very
consults
esteemed.
you, yeah, we know.
Mm-hmm. And so I searched it again, and I was like, that's weird. Why is there this Thai reskin of YouTube that links to Igor's channel? And there's in this exact string of the XTXD whatever numbers thing.
And let me interrupt you.
Pops up.
Let me interrupt you briefly there, because when I searched for all these originally, this result wasn't there. Yeah, there was nothing there. It was only these fake temp email things. So the Igor's lab result wasn't actually there for this string.
When I clicked on that link, I couldn't find what Google was talking about on there. I was like, that's weird. Could this be a cached page? And sure enough, it was a cached page to one of Igor's Lab's YouTube videos on this Thai reskin website. So then I went to Igor's channel. I found the video that was being embedded into the website, and I found the comment. And then I was like, okay, so this guy commented the exact string of what Rogame has, and he didn't make it public. Jim hadn't made it public until after this Igor's Labs video came out. Did Igor's Lab leak this? And he did. And we didn't know because it's in German. Yeah. And nobody noticed.
And here's where this story gets interesting, because remember, in the video I said that the email came from a fake temporary email service where they pretended it came from AMD semi-custom. But like I said, I mean, my brain will analyze anything and justify anything. So I'm thinking about this. It's like, if this is somebody really within AMD giving me this information, maybe they would just say AMD semi-custom rather than saying Radeon Technologies Group, or you can literally justify anything if you want to. But as it turns out, this fake email service also had a link to the IP address that sent the email. And funnily enough, that IP address was from Deutsche Telekom, Germany. So we now have German website, Igor's Lab, and nobody knew about it because it was all in German. Nobody knew about these unless you're German. And then I've been sent an email from Germany, which again I just simply justified as, well, if I was going to be using a service like that to leak information to a YouTuber, I would use my VPN. Now, I wouldn't use my own IP address. I'd use my VPN. So why not choose one in Germany? And so it turns out that, I don't know. Obviously, I've got a lot of detractors, and some of them will be German as well. And especially over at Reddit, you maybe see one or two. So we've got this German website, Igor's Lab, who leaked his code names. I've got a German IP address, and there's a motive there for some guys that just maybe don't like me enough. And that's probably exactly what it was, because these guys they're following the tech a lot. they're seeing all this stuff, even stuff like tightened tolerances. They've probably seen that. Like I said in the video, it's something that maybe Mark Papermaster said once or twice as well. It's an engineering term, but it's not one you hear a lot. If you were out to make mischief for me, then, like it said, the other guy on Reddit said, they're getting a bit more sophisticated at doing it. But in this case, I was sure to label it with as many disclaimers as I could, literally before I even said the clock speed. I said, look, I'm not sure I believe this. It's a little bit too good to be true. But like I said, people started to get a little bit carried away. So I just decided to pull the video in the end. This information, some of it's true and some of it is false. I am not telling you anyone what's true and what's false, but you'll see. And there's another thing that we talked about, Matthew, because if you wanna really give something that's just about realistic or reasonable, you give sort of like half the information true, half false, yeah? And that's pretty much what we've got here. One thing I will say, I was a little bit disappointed by one or two comments on the channel afterwards. And I mean, Kirk, you can block out this guy's name, right? But here's one that says, let's question Jim for taking his latest video down. He needs to answer, why upload something when you're not 100%? You either keep it up like a man or don't create the video in the first place. Simple as that. Needs to keep his integrity. Now, obviously, I get really pissed off with people when they start doing this, right? But I simply said, look, the video was taken down because I was given very clear evidence that the info was false. And to me, integrity would be removing false information before it can do lasting damage. Not keeping it up and giving others the opportunity to call me out as clickbait and only in it for the money. And I worked days on that video. I made no money at all, which isn't actually true. I probably made about $15 because it got to 7,000 views. That video would have hit 70,000 views like my last one did. Yeah. So essentially, I've cost myself probably 150 or so bucks, which maybe not be a huge amount of money, but I would rather have it than not. And this guy's talking to me about integrity for taking something down which I knew was false, yeah?
Well, that's the thing is when you look at actual published media and things like that, your big New York Times, that kind of thing, if they publish something that is later proven to be false, they retract the publication. They either delete the article or they modify it at the very beginning, saying that this has been proven false, check here for the update, that kind of thing. We don't have the ability to do that on YouTube.
No, you just don't. The first thing I did was I pinned a comment and then I left a message.
Nobody reads the comments.
Nobody reads the comments, yeah?
They don't read the description.
Exactly, yeah? Once it's up there on YouTube, if it's wrong, you just need to take it bloody well down so that you're not causing any lasting damage. And I did it as quickly as I thought, I really need to do this now.
And in today's social media and whatnot environment, removing your post when it's wrong is not only the only thing you can do, but it's also the appropriate thing to do. Yeah.
This comment that this guy made, like, why upload something when you're not 100%? This is how I'm going to end on this topic. Had I followed that advice, then nobody would ever have known about the Epic Master Plan video where, I started talking about chiplets. I was leaked the whole chiplet thing. Epic was being fabbed at TSMC. IO dies, UMA, and this was 9 months before Papermaster revealed it at Next Horizon in November. Back in February 2018, I leaked this stuff. If I am, if I was not 100% on that information, obviously. There's only a few people in the world that knew that. But I had to trust my leaker. And then they also wouldn't have got all the RTX stuff. Now, this was a big risk for me because, I already knew the chiplet stuff was real long before Papermaster was talking about it. But this RTX one, where, people weren't sure if it was Ampere, they weren't sure if it was Turing, they didn't know if it was the 1100 series or the 2000 series. So basically, I got a hit and run, very similar to what this recent video was. I call these hit and runs. like these leaks, because they just email me something and never say anything ever again, or they make it so that they can't be contacted again. The Turing one, which is basically nailed. I got RTX 2000 series and all that stuff. That was a big risk for me because I had no idea if that was true, but I decided to run with it because it felt right. These were all new sources, and even the latest thing about the Intel DG2 and where they're fabbing their stuff, again, a new source. I'm not 100% on it, but I'm fairly confident in it. And that's why I decided to run with it.
Hang on, that's my leak, though.
That is partly yours as well. Yeah.
We've got I get half the credit.
Yeah, we've got the same source on that one. And, well, we know who that source is. So that one was very believable anyway. On this one, though, there was just too much there that I didn't really feel confident about. So I stuck the disclaimers up. And, people need to realise that I'm taking a big risk with all this stuff. And I don't need to do it. I don't actually need to take those risks because, there's no leak stuff in this video that I did 2 weeks ago, which is 75,000 views, yeah? I can just speculate and people are going to watch it in large numbers. The leaks are risky because I'm hoping the person is giving it to me in, good faith. And yeah, they got the same 75,000 views, but, I can do more of this stuff. The only people that are losing out of these people giving me these false leaks are my viewers. And presumably, whoever gave me this information is probably watching me. He probably hates my guts, yeah? But he still can't help but watch the videos anyway. Because why else?
He's from RAMD.
Possibly. Why else would they talk about a 512-bit bus? They must know that I am one of the very few going with that information. And they also know that I am the type of person who is much more likely to fall for stuff like this Titan tolerances, yeah? That they would have known that I would have, that would have piqued my interest. And then to talk about a silicon revision at the end, A1, what other YouTuber would even have bothered with that? But to me, it's like, right, so now I'm getting information at the silicon level as well, and it kind of lines up with a lot of stuff, yeah? These people are simply ruining it for everybody. Yeah, and probably themselves, because I'm quite certain that this person is watching the channel, even if he hates it. But what can you do? Do I wait until people prove themselves with leaks first of all? If I do that, somebody beats me to it. If I do that, maybe you don't get those really awesome leaks that I got like last year and the year before. It's a hard one. It's a very difficult one to know what to do. And if somebody's out to get, I said this once before, I think, but if I wanted to set up any major publication or YouTuber with information, I would be able to do it no problem whatsoever. It would be so believable and it would be so easy to do.
Well, one thing that we should also mention as well is we have to express our thanks to the leak that we did get that told us this was false.
Yeah.
That they had the, concern and initiative to come out and actually correct this leak.
Yeah.
Fake leak.
This guy, you get different types of leakers, and some of them are extremely paranoid. And this does mean something to me, because this guy is extremely paranoid, although he's got some very, very good information. The number of times I was told, you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this, because they're worried. See, when you are a leaker, you're always worried, and you read stuff and you hear stuff and you think, that's information I know. What if people think that, does this link back to me? Is this too obvious now that I was the leaker? Yeah, but in reality, nobody's that smart to figure out that you are the leaker. But if you've got that paranoid mindset, you do believe that while you're watching through these things, you're like, oh my God, this is obviously me who has leaked this information, but nobody can figure it out, especially not at the likes of AMD, Intel, or NVIDIA. They haven't got a damn clue.
So we do want to actually extend that thanks for them sticking their neck out and correcting this fake leak so that we can have at least not propagating wrong information.
Exactly.
So we definitely appreciate it.
Exactly. And that was pretty much that for that. But I guess it'll lead us on nicely to the next part to talk about the information that was on Igor's lab. Yeah?
There we go. Is it fixed now?
No.
Yep, it's still doing it.
Okay, so, and we totally just didn't have technical issues there. Don't worry about that cut.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this is what we would have talked about last week about the in the podcast if we had one. But anyways, so this cooler leaked, and then eventually Igor's lab confirmed it. So this is probably going to be the final design or close to the final design of what we see in like the RTX 3080 or 3090 or whatever, and more on the SKU names later. But Igor had confirmed that this cooler is legit. He has sources. And he also had some information about the dies, like as in like the die names and some configuration stuff. So GA102 is what they're going to be using for the top 3 end RTX 30 series GPUs, which he believes will be the 3090, the 3080 Ti or 3080 Super, and the 3080. So that seems pretty reasonable. 90 has usually been like dual GPU stuff, but they might reuse it if they want to replace the Titan, which it seems like they're doing. Jim, you discussed this, right?
Yeah.
In your video? Yeah, so you're saying that they might use 3090 if they feel like the Titan will lose?
Yeah.
Let's see.
However, I would say now that I don't feel there's much chance of NVIDIA losing.
No, I think NVIDIA will win. I was going to say, like, a lot of these leaks that we're going to discuss, I think a lot of them are wrong. I think, in fact, I just going off on a tangent here, and I'll go back to later, I think pretty much all of the leaks that we've seen are wrong. Anyways, but some of this could be true in respect to the memory configuration. Now, the thing is, Igor is saying 10 gigabytes for the 3080, 11 gigabytes for the 3080 Ti/Super, and 24 for the 3090/Titan. But the problem is, the type of memory he's saying is GDDR6X, which is not an official specification. Now, this could be a thing like saying, oh, it's going to be really fast, but it is true that this is not official. If his source is telling him GDDR6X, then that's really weird.
Remember, Matthew, we had all this chat with the 5X when it came to Pascal, and people were saying 5X. Yeah, I mean, I was one who said it as well. I'm saying, is 5X really going to be ready? The fact of the matter is, NVIDIA have got enough clout to push this, to push the industry forward here. They did it with Micron,
JEDEC, though. Yeah, it's JEDEC, though. JEDEC had the 5X specification. It does not exist for 6X.
Yeah.
So,
are you sure about that?
And also, it does exist for 5X. It is on JEDEC's website.
Right.
I've seen it. But another thing is that I think it's Copite, one of the other leakers.
Yeah.
That he says he was saying something very similar for these GPUs, and I disagree with a lot of Copite stuff. So this makes me doubt that Igor has the correct information here, despite his sources being very good. I'm sure he has the analysis about the cooler correct, but when it comes to the actual GPUs themselves, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I know, and I can't tell you who it was that told me this, but apparently there is a 12 gigabyte card out there, Ampere card.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that made me wonder a little bit as well.
I wonder if, because here's the thing, there's a lot of people, a lot of decently credible people, and a lot of people being very confident in their leaks about this.
Yeah.
And I think they're all wrong.
I wouldn't go that far. What I would say is I think they're going to be half right, half wrong, or
maybe
a percentage right and a percentage wrong. I wouldn't go as far as saying they're all wrong, though.
I'm thinking that NVIDIA is doing some kind of disinformation campaign.
It could well be, yeah.
Because there's no way that everyone could be wrong. Because I went through, like last night, I was talking to someone about how I think most of the leaks are wrong, and then I was like, wait a minute, I think all the leaks are wrong. Because I went through all the leaks. And I was like, I don't agree with any of these.
I do not like this 3090 idea at all. I just don't like it.
I don't either. No. I don't like it anymore.
No.
But this is old. What's new is Coreteks, and this is a speculation video from Coreteks. This is not like an actual leak, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not all of this anyway. Some of this is a leak. Not all of it is. But he has an interesting idea about what the 30 series can introduce. This ray tracing coprocessor, which is a thing that exists. There's even a patent out for it that you can read. We could put a link in the video description.
I think he calls it traversal.
Yeah, traversal coprocessor. That is the official name of it too. That's what NVIDIA calls it. And his idea is that it would go on the back of the GPU PCB. I disagree with that, but it could be on the graphics card itself, maybe on a daughter board or something on the other side of the GPU card. Sorry, the graphics card. Or it could be like some kind of like add-in card that you put in somewhere else. But anyway, it's a very interesting idea because I was told by Supermicro that NVIDIA was saying that Ampere can be like specialized. So like for example, the Ampere you see in the data center can have differences against the Ampere that you see for gaming, and this kind of fits in with that.
I just kind of looked at that as meaning there's gonna be like a ton of the tensors or tensor stuff's going to be stripped out, and it's going to have ray tracing. But I mean, I'm not sure about this whole traversal coprocessor thing. I mean, to be honest with you, there's no reason why NVIDIA couldn't do it. They certainly got the money and the engineering talent to do whatever they want, it seems, regarding graphics. I just don't think so. But it's like you said, I don't think this was a leak from Celso.
Yeah, it's more of like speculation.
Speculation, basically, yeah.
But the thing is, this also solves an interesting conundrum that we have in the A100 GPU, is that it has no ray tracing. As we know, the ray tracing cores are sort of like embedded with the SMs and the shaders.
Yeah.
Like it's not like if you cut out SMs, you're gonna naturally cut out ray tracing performance. So this is a way where they can scale the shader count and the ray tracing performance independently, and then they could have the tensor cores on the GPU itself still, like we see with A100.
All I know is that NVIDIA are going to be faster in ray tracing again.
Yeah.
By how
obviously,
much?
I think
I'm
so.
not entirely sure how much by, but if they do have their own independent ray tracing coprocessor, then it's just yet more proof of where the industry's going that way. There's no question that's where the industry's going anyway. NVIDIA are the ones pushing it forward, and if that's what they want to do, then that's what that's what the PC industry does, and that's where it goes. And then you've got AMD doing their own thing on the game consoles, and it's starting to look maybe like there's a bit of a split developing there.
I think we should like summarize all these leaks once we get to this final one, and I'll give my opinion. But anyway, so we have this this final leak from Igor that was made today, actually. Well, not today for you guys, but today for us. And he's saying that he has like the schedule for like the GPU and where it is right now.
Yeah.
So we have so Igor says right now we are in design validation tests, which is going to last from this month into July, and then it should launch in September maybe. But mass production, it seems he's pretty confident on starting in August.
So September, October, I think, is what I've always been told as well. These are dates that I've heard from multiple sources. And it kind of ties in with Cyberpunk 2077 as well, which I am pretty certain. Oh, well, I'm not going to say it, but there's a fair chance that was delayed simply for NVIDIA's cards. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, CD Projekt Red has worked with NVIDIA on Witcher 3 with the Hairworks thing.
Yeah. And we know that they're working with them on Cyberpunk 2077, yeah.
Yes, that has.
And we can be reasonably certain that NVIDIA are going to crush AMD in this title. I would say so.
I don't think actually Igor, is he leaking this or is it speculation? Either way, he probably knows what he's talking about. This sounds reasonable. September launch.
Yeah, I would reckon that's about right. It won't be far away.
So overall, what we have here, when it comes to, I can't even remember the point that I was gonna say. When I was saying I was gonna get back to something, I can't remember what that was, to be honest.
We were just gonna try and tie in all these leaks together. To be honest with you, all we really got is a bunch of pictures of the heatsink and the graphics card itself.
I think that's the most trustworthy thing. I think that's the thing that we can all believe.
Yeah, we can all believe that. I mean,
yeah, it's just way too intricate to be fake, as well as the kind of revolutionary design. I mean, we haven't seen a GPU with air being pulled in from the back of the card.
Yeah. What I would say is, if all this stuff's true, and I mean, especially if Coreteks is true with this traversal coprocessor, these cards are going to cost an absolute fortune. I mean, that cooling solution, dual PCBs perhaps. And I mean, NVIDIA wants to get paid, yeah, for you can guarantee that. Just how much are these going to cost?
I wonder if they could put the coprocessor on like 12/16 nanometers, so it's a lot cheaper. Because if they're segmenting it, I mean, it's basically going to work like chiplets, where you can have one of the chiplets be on like a cheaper process, even if it's less dense.
The thing about having BVH or ray tracing on its own die, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do that. We've already seen how Turing works, and it is the ray tracing is a separate part of the process, yeah. And then you've got the denoising at the end of it. There's no real need for that to be tied in, like on the cores at the core level that I know about. Also, if you've ray tracing also scales remarkably well with multiple GPUs, so it would be yet another way of increasing ray tracing performance just by simply throwing in more and more like standalone ray tracing chips.
The return of multi-GPU?
And it's all going to be ray tracing all the way. I mean, I would not be surprised at all if that is NVIDIA's plan. And you know what? In a way, I hope it is, because once again, they are the ones showing that they are really... I think I'm more impressed with NVIDIA now than I have ever been.
Yeah.
They're just getting better and better. And
I remember what I was going to say.
Uh-huh.
So, about the ray tracing performance, if it's like just so much faster... If it's like, if they're like doing, if this co-processing thing allows it to be like several times faster, then I don't really have a problem with the lack of support, because if the performance is so good, then support will follow very quickly.
Yeah, for
sure.
I
think, I thought that they're falling behind in rasterization performance would be a problem.
But they're not.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. I thought that maybe they would be falling behind because they're investing too much.
Yeah.
But I think now that and it's not necessarily because of this speculation, but I think now that that NVIDIA will have not only the ray tracing crown, but also the rasterization crown, as they have had.
Yes.
I don't think RDNA 2 is going to be fast enough.
You know, I actually think that Turing just didn't get the plaudits it deserved. I know that a lot of people slammed it as, you know, it's not ready for prime time and that's not real ray tracing. For a first effort, and if you look at some of the games, I think they've done a really, really good job with that. For a first effort, new technology, I mean, it does kind of just work. All right, it's dog slow, but I mean, really, this next iteration is going to look pretty good, I think.
I think from a consumer standpoint, you have to necessarily criticize Turing because it had such poor support and the performance wasn't very good. But with Ampere, if you can upgrade your ray tracing performance, I mean, like, that's not only a better long-term solution, but that makes me more confident in the support that the games will have for ray tracing.
Yeah.
Especially with the consoles as well.
Yeah, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised at what NVIDIA gives us this. Pleasantly surprised in everything except the prices, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I'm
But
probably going to get...
Do you think that they will keep the prices so high considering the current events?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're getting a 3090 in there, because a 3090 sounds like an excuse to bump a price up to maybe $1,750 or even close to $2,000 without pushing the 3080 Ti that far and without bringing the Titan down. So that could be a new card for a new price bracket.
Yeah.
1,500 plus? Yeah, I would think so.
So
I don't know.
I think we said everything that we wanted to.
Yeah, we're done with this one now.
All right, so this is the leak that a lot of people were talking about before, and then it's like kind of boring with all this Ampere stuff. So Matisse 2 / Matisse refresh. It's listed on Amazon Italy. I would just like to say we talked about this. Oh, not anymore. Well, it was there. Yeah, but we talked about this in freaking April about a 3600 refresh and maybe other CPUs.
That's true. We did actually mention that, didn't you? You said, I think it was.
Yeah. That's the said. When we said we got Matisse 2, we didn't know what it was. Our source didn't know exactly what it was. And immediately I said 3600 or 3600X refresh.
I think Kirk mentioned that one as well. You and Kirk were both the ones,
We were also talking about like other CPUs that they could refresh. Now, I was wrong that I didn't think they would refresh any other CPUs, but they are. They're going to refresh. The 3800 XT is also on a SKU that we're pretty sure is real. It doesn't seem to be on there. Whether it's not listed because it's not real or because it's just not listed for some reason, we don't know. But I would just like to say, back in April, we called it. But we did not get the leak. We did not get the leak about like the branding and stuff. That's WCCF Tech.
Yeah,
so
all that.
Props to them for getting
Was
that.
it WCCF that got the XT branding? Yeah, it
yes,
was. It's Hassan, wasn't it? Hassan got that.
Yeah, that was like, and then that was like hours. I think that was right after Moore's Law is Dead's leak. I can't remember which leak it was, but that leak was like right after a leak, like the same day.
Okay.
Something like that. Anyways, so this has been an interesting launch, but it doesn't look that impressive.
No, I'm not blown away by it, at least. But
Yeah,
then again, we were never going to be.
The base clocks, I think, have been bumped up. It's not on here.
Yeah.
But the boost clocks have been bumped up by 100 megahertz. We might see like faster RAM or fabric clock or something. I mean, it's just a refresh.
Yeah.
What are we expecting? Like 5% extra performance, probably?
I think it'll be slightly better. Like you said, the base clocks look like they're up a fair bit. And that's going to make a difference in some things, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
look at the pricing, though.
What was the pricing? I missed this one.
Okay, now this is VAT included for Italy, but 285 euros for the 3600 XT, 570 euros for the 3900 XT. So that's going to be like, hopefully that will translate to original launch prices for the respective refresh SKUs.
I mean, why are these priced so high? I don't really...
Well, it is VAT included.
Yeah, but still, I mean, the whole point about technology is it's supposed to, come down in price. And we know for a fact that 7 nanometers is a hell of a lot cheaper now than it was a year ago, because that's just the way that it goes. I mean, this is a chance for AMD to maybe win a bit of a market share. Instead of that, why...
Well, hang on. This is one thing. Did you see the most up-to-date Passmark market share?
I didn't.
It's like 55 Intel, 45 AMD.
Seriously?
Yeah, AMD is like crushing Intel on DIY PC. I don't think they care about taking market share anymore, because they already have it.
I mean, I guess in a way that is the point here, because it's all the OEM systems that are really giving Intel that massive market share. And the very, very low end stuff like your Pentium still sell by the barrel load. So I guess, that's a fair enough point. And AMD are doing very well on the build it yourself crowd.
Yeah, like think about Passmark isn't exclusive to DIY PC people. A lot of DIY PC people are going to be using that, and that's what they're calculating based with the market share. But think about like people with laptops, people with desktops that are pre-built are going to be testing that. There's going to be mostly Intel. And then you have like this very like niche but almost entirely AMD crowd testing Passmark. Yeah. And they're at 45%. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad.
So that's why these aren't cheap.
Yeah.
You're also not going to see business machines running Passmark either, so there's a huge swath of Intel market that's not accounted for.
Yeah.
This is definitely more gamer enthusiast-oriented statistics.
Yeah. And so with that, we move on to the final. Is this the final part of this?
Yes.
Before we move on to the Q&A. Right. I'll take off from here, I think, then. Jim Keller resigning from Intel, effective immediately. And that was 3 days ago that this was outed over at Anantech. Now, we know all about what Jim tends to do. Historically, I mean, he started off at AMD, or he didn't start there, but he was at AMD, and then where was it he went to after AMD? Was it Apple?
No, Tesla.
No, did he not go to Apple, then Tesla?
No, I'm pretty sure it was straight to Tesla. Because he left AMD and he left AMD.
No, I'm talking about the first time though, when he was at AMD.
Oh, the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about
So was it? How did that work? Was it Keller was? I think he was. He was at AMD. Then he went to Apple to develop the A5, and then he went back to AMD, and then went to Tesla, and then the last one was Intel.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and he only tends to spend 2-3 years maximum at any place, and obviously, with the way things are going on at Intel, the internal politics and stuff, you're instantly just going to start thinking that this is all about Intel's internal politics, especially given some of the stuff I've heard. But apparently, this is about, and this is personal issues. Was it outed exactly what it was? I don't want to say it, Matthew, unless there's
Oh, it's already public at this point, isn't
An
it?
illness in the
an
family.
illness in the
Yeah.
family. It was, right?
Yeah, that's definitely public.
So,
And we've independently confirmed it too.
right, yeah, we have independently confirmed that. So there is not. It does appear to be a family issue, and in all honesty, I would just leave it at that. He's going to be there for until for the next 6 months. What is it kind of like?
Consulting remotely or something.
Right, okay. And then afterwards, I guess we'll wait and see what happens then. But that is pretty much that news. There doesn't appear to be anything untoward going on at Intel. Or
Yeah.
there's been a reshuffle. People have been moved up, and I think Raja's got some new thing. I can't exactly remember what it was, but yet another reshuffle at Intel because of this. And well, I think we all say that we wish Jim the very best. Regardless if you're an AMD fanboy or an Intel fanboy, or an AI fanboy, Jim Keller is really one of the true greats, and it's sad that this is happening in his life.
Yeah, and I hope he stayed at Intel long enough for him to make a difference.
I'm pretty sure he has done. Yeah, he must have done. Yeah,
Not quite 2 years, but
yeah,
he could give at least some advice.
yeah.
Oh, and he's in a consulting position for 6 months.
Yeah, he's still there. Going to be there for 6 months. So
Yeah, and he's also still presenting at Hot Chips, I believe.
yeah, I read that he was going to be doing that as well. I think Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we actually have quite a bit of time for some Q&A. We got through the Ampere leaks pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We just railroaded through that. So this is our first question, and this ties in beautifully to how we scheduled this. Where will Jim Keller go next? / where would you like Jim Keller to go? So
I speculated in my Singularity video. No, I didn't speculate. I said I would like to see him going to Musk's Neuralink, work on more AI-based stuff and more stuff based on around the brain. I don't know if that's really going to happen or not. I don't know if Neuralink are a big enough company yet. Neuralink are the one that does the AI brain interface type thing. I would like to see him get back with Musk, but I don't think so. I'm not sure. Jim's at that stage.
Nuvia.
I think, yeah. Maybe, yeah. I mean, it could happen. Yeah, it could happen.
Because Nuvia is all the cool kids now.
Yeah, there is quite
That's where it's happening.
Yeah, there is quite a few moved there, and there could be even more going, that we know about from inside Intel.
Yeah.
No, but you, Kirk, have you got any ideas of what you'd like to see from Keller?
I think he could make some pretty good inroads with AI chips and things like that. I think out of everyone that really needs the help the most, probably RTG.
Yeah, he's not going to go back to AMD.
No. It
He's
depends on if they pay him enough.
He's like, listen, I love fixing a problem, but this is even too big for me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Are we not considering at all possibility that he would go to some future products that the Google or Amazon are going?
That's an interesting idea.
I can imagine him doing that. Google, maybe not so much Amazon, but Google, yeah. I actually believe that Jim is more into AI now than anything else. He seems to talk about it quite a bit, and I think this might be where his heart is. And he doesn't need the money, so he can do whatever he damn well pleases. Yeah. And if I were him, and that is how I felt about it, that's what I would do. I would just kick this, your x86 and your PCs and whatnot. I'd just kick that in the head and go do what I wanted at his stage of his life.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question. Let's see.
So,
can you explain why consoles use GDDR memory exclusively while PCs use DDR for the system and then GDDR with the GPU? And do you think we will see PCs with GDDR as an option? So there is a right answer to this, and it's because for consoles, they use only GDDR because they can design around its flaws, which is mainly latency. So it has very high bandwidth, with a very high amount of latency for RAM. And PCs can't really handle that because they're so customizable. With consoles, it's one thing. They don't have to worry about like what CPU, what RAM, what this, that. They always know what's going to happen. So they can design that around the latency pretty easily. On the PC, since it's just so much more customizable, that's very difficult to do. So they would rather segment it. So the best RAM for your system is going to be your DDR. The best RAM for your GPU is going to be your GDDR. And you also have to consider the fact that GPUs are like a drop-in thing. They're like basically putting in another PC into your computer. So, or rather another computer into your PC. So you can't, it would be really weird to just like put in a GPU with no memory and then have it work off the system memory.
Yeah. It's an
That'd be
APU.
really weird. Yeah.
Well,
That's like a reverse APU.
I mean, yeah, reverse hyper-threading. What I was going to say was, obviously cost is a factor, and so many like PC CPUs, especially the higher end stuff, is based on like server type designs, and servers are not going to be slamming GDDR6 and stuff like that in there. The costs would be astronomical. Yeah, so I mean the cost will be rising anyway. The industry's going to DDR5 pretty soon, I think.
Well, don't GDDR traces also have something to do with it as well?
Maybe
with their
that
complexity and stringent requirements. I mean, we saw with PCIe 4 all of the trace issues that came with that.
Yeah.
Just imagine if they had to deal with that with memory as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and use case, like the consoles are only going to do gaming, and gaming does need high bandwidth. But with the PC, it's supposed to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not everything's going to benefit from high bandwidth and be okay with higher latency.
Yeah, that pretty much answers that one, I think.
Oh, yep. And wait, hang on. And then the last part of the question, do you think we'll see PCs with only GDDR? We actually already have an example of it, and it's terrible. It's the Zubor Z+. Yeah. And Digital Foundry did analysis on it. Linus Tech Tips did a video on it. And the performance is really bad. I believe it's a quad-core Zen Plus. It's either Zen or Zen Plus. I think it's probably Zen Plus.
Was it based on Zen? Was that not the previous technology?
Yeah.
It was Zen.
No, this was 2017.
Right, okay.
But Zen, well, it wouldn't have been called Zen Plus, but it probably would have had the Zen Plus fixes. Because Zen is more like Zen Minus, and Zen Plus is more like Zen, if you get what I mean. All the Zen Plus fixes were in everything that came after Ryzen 1000. Threadripper had it, Epic had it, Raven Ridge had the fixes. Only Ryzen 1000 did not have the Zen Plus fixes. And then Zen Plus also had the 12 nanometer node. Anyways, back on track. The performance was very low, given the specifications for both the GPU and the CPU. And that's probably down to the fact that it's just not optimized for GDDR.
I'm kind of surprised that it was so bad, to be honest.
Yeah, even in Cinebench, it was really bad. So that could be down to like clock speed
That
stuff.
makes even less sense because we know that Cinebench doesn't really use RAM. Yeah, because it's almost runs entirely out of L1 and L2 cache.
That could be down to clock speed stuff.
Yeah,
but when it comes to like the games, I remember it being particularly bad.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we could even do more questions, can't we?
Yeah,
we can do more questions.
Let's do this one here. We have another podcast question from DieHarder86. Do you have contacts in fabs for NVMe? Are there any new controller or chips coming out soon? As far as contacts, I don't think we have any like leak contacts in NVMe specifically.
No, I don't, certainly.
We're open to receiving any if anyone wants to volunteer. I mean, we'll keep you confidential, don't worry.
Jim.parker@AdoredTV.com.
Yeah, that is the address if you want to send me something. Of course, after the recent shenanigans, I'm probably going to wait until you prove yourself once before I use your information, but
And as far as new controllers, the only thing I'm really aware of right now is Samsung's 980 Pro NVMe drive. It has sizes from 256 up to 1 terabyte, but that's probably because 2-bit MLC 3D stacked VNAND. That's supposedly on a new controller that should see close to the theoretical max performance of PCIe 4, so about 7 gigabit or gigabytes per second, whatever, gigabit probably.
So long as it's faster than the PlayStation 5, that's all that matters.
It'll actually end up being faster than PlayStation 5, which is
Yeah, but will it be better? That's the question.
no,
Linus
because
Tech
it
Tips
won't have ray
no.
tracing, right?
Linus Tech Tips got in he got in some hot water because he made fun of the PS5 SSD and he didn't know it was actually really good because he was only going by like the read and write speeds.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's do another question. I like this question. Favorite console ever, favorite GPU ever, and favorite CPU. So, do we all have favorite consoles?
I
think I
actually
could probably
can start this one. Maybe it'll lead everyone off.
Okay.
I think more for nostalgia, but the SNES.
That's a good one.
I mean, I had a Nintendo, and when we went up to the SNES at Christmas, we finally got a system that had better graphics, could do a little bit better as far as worlds and things. I played Chrono Trigger to death on that thing.
Good choice.
And it just had a lot of really monumental games that came out for it. And I think as a transition period, it was a really good console. I mean, PS2 to 3, 3 to 4, not a whole lot to speak of there. There wasn't any real monumental things, but going from just an 8-bit Nintendo to the 16-bit SNES, big difference.
SNES for me as well. SNES for me as well because I think that was the last piece of hardware that I actually impulse bought. And I said it in my Life of Gaming video. I walked into the store and I saw F-Zero playing on the screen. And I walked up, I walked up to the console, picked up the controller, played it for 5 minutes, and I just bought the thing there and then. I just needed it. Yeah. So,
because F-Zero for the SNES was sort of kind of 3D, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Mode 7 graphics, it was called. This sort of pseudo 3D, which worked really well. But for me, as I said in that video, it was the sensation of speed. The sensation of speed I have never seen like that before. I was going to say or since, but obviously since then it's been fine. But I've never seen it before then, and it's such a great game, F-Zero as well.
I'm gonna reveal my age very well. If you don't know how old I am, this answer is gonna give you this. What I'm gonna say is gonna tell you.
At your baby shower, you were given a PS4.
So my favorite handheld has to be the 3DS. That's my favorite because like the DS is really good, but since the 3DS has backwards compatibility with it, for me it was great. And I even bought like the refresh version with like the quad core CPU that only got like one exclusive or something. And then for actual like home console, my favorite, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I think it's probably the Wii U.
God.
I know
it's
that's
all because
like,
of Breath of the Wild, right?
No, I actually bought a Switch. For the Wii U, well, it's backwards compatible with all my Wii stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have it anymore. I gave it to my sister. I think she sold it. But anyways, but it had Mario Kart 8. It had Nintendo Land, which is an awesome party game. That's a great party game. It had Pikmin 3, which I really liked. That had a very great mechanic with the gamepad. It's one of the very few games that actually did. What other games? The WarioWare game I really like. That's a good party game. They gave out quite a few free games for that. I can't remember what other games I had. I had Scribblenauts. That was pretty good. That's on the PC now too.
Yeah.
So that's not an exclusive. But overall, I really like the Wii U. I would say if I had to choose, or if I didn't ever have a Wii U, my answer would be a Wii, because the Wii was like a large part of why I like the Wii U, because the Wii has games and the Wii U doesn't.
Yeah. Aurelian?
For me, it would be the Sega. I'm showing my age, of course.
The Mega Drive or the
Genesis.
Or the Genesis. Interesting.
That's only because it was the first one I put my hands on and I was hooked. I mean, I had
Sonic,
afterwards.
Right?
Genesis does
Sonic.
what Nintendo don't.
Sega.
I never owned the Genesis, so I can't say. But I went over to friends' houses and they had the Genesis, and we'd play Sonic to death for sure.
Yeah.
But I really can't name very many other games for the Genesis if you think about it.
It was for me it was Sonic. So
yeah.
We called it.
That was iconic.
What surprised me was Aurelian, we call this the Genesis the Sega Mega Drive, not the Genesis, yeah?
Yeah, Mega Drive. It was Mega Drive,
Yeah.
but now I googled it to check the name,
Yeah.
and I saw it was it's at least called in Wikipedia. It's called Genesis. I do remember it being called Mega Drive.
Mega
I used
Drive
the Mega Drive,
outside of
yeah.
North America, yeah. So the
Yeah,
Americans
yeah.
called it Genesis, and we called it the Mega Drive. And
Yes,
that was
You
you're
guys
right.
are weird.
That was, of course, around the same time as the SNES, the Super Nintendo, and there was a big rivalry there between the two consoles, if you
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, you picked the wrong one, Aurelian, because of,
Well, hang on. Nintendo didn't win. Sony won. I think you're forgetting that part.
Sony didn't arrive until
Well, I had a place-
97.
Yeah. What do you
I didn't
mean?
have many-
Sony destroyed Nintendo and Sega. That is absolutely what happened. Do you not remember the Dreamcast, GameCube?
Oh, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
I should try
Okay.
teaching my
Yeah, I
son how
didn't
to
have
play Sonic.
many.
Okay. So, other part of this question: favorite GPU ever? For me,
Oh, I don't think I have.
I think it's a tie between my first ever PC with the APU in it, the 7650K, and the first discrete GPU I got for that PC, the R9 380.
So my answer is the current one I'm running because it's obviously the fastest and best.
2080 Ti?
No, the of the ones I've owned, you see.
Oh.
Like
What is it?
One of the big jumps in graphics performance was when I bought a 5770 HD back in the day.
I had two of those.
And yeah, I got that and then the 6770 so that I could hand my 5770 to the wife and put it in her computer and stuff. But I was kind of conservative on buying video cards back then. If it wasn't within that $150 range, I didn't buy it because it was more of an affordable thing because I was going to college. I was not able to pay for anything, right? I worked in a nonprofit back then. It was bad.
Yeah.
And so now I actually have a higher end card. Once again, not sponsored. I have the Aorus 1080 Ti.
The 1080 Ti, yeah. Gigabyte.
Yeah.
I
Not
would
sponsored.
I would have said the 5770 possibly now that you mentioned it because I had two of those and they were amazing little cards. I really, really enjoyed those. And I also had two 4770s when I was running Crossfire a lot then. However, I would say, I was kind of tempted to go with the 8800 GT, which is obviously a tremendous graphics card.
That is my favorite.
And
I had one of those too.
That's yours, a favourite, Aurelian? I think everybody had one, apart from Matthew, who wasn't born at the
Yeah.
time.
And I used it for 10 years.
I wonder why.
He was still using one of those baby toys where you push buttons and it makes noise.
I had a netbook. Excuse me.
I would say
Remember
my
those?
best graphics card ever was the 5850 that I had. And if you remember the grey screen of death that plagued those cards,
Oh.
remember the grey
I had a
screen of death?
5770, so I didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was only the high end
This
ones.
is the
yeah.
first I've heard of this.
I think it was the 5870 and the 5850 that suffered from the grey screen of death, and my first one had the grey screen of death. But I got a replacement pretty quickly, and the 5850, and mostly because of Eyefinity, which was a real game changer for me.
That was one of the reasons I liked it a lot too, is
Yeah.
because you could hook up your Eyefinity display,
monos.
whereas you had a limitation with the NVIDIA cards back then.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't do it until they brought out Fermi second series, was it? The 500?
That gives me a fun anecdotal story. I have a friend that ran Fermi in Crossfire or SLI, yeah. NVIDIA marketing term.
Yeah.
And he actually had discoloration and bubbling on his paint on his wall behind his computer.
I'm not surprised by that. The Fermi memes just keep on rolling. So,
Yes.
Aurelian, you said the 8800 GT, I guess, yeah?
Yeah, that was I used it for 10 plus years.
Seriously?
Yep. I used until last year. I bought in 2019, I replaced it. So
And everybody else's died because of Bumpgate, and yours lasted 10 years. Wow.
Yep.
That is something.
All right, so the last part of this question.
Matthew,
And
you
there-
didn't answer your question, did you?
The
What?
GPU.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, I did. I said my first APU 7650K, and then
right.
my first GPU R9 380.
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
Okay, so final question. Favorite CPU? That for me, it's got to be the R7 1700. I still own that.
1700X for me.
Yeah, I have a story about that where I almost killed my CPU, or not my CPU, but I almost killed my entire PC building that system with a floppy drive connector. Should I say it? Should I
Were you
tell
loading
that?
Windows 10 off of your floppies?
So what happened was, okay, so I was in a hurry to get this PC built because I was very excited. This was like the first good CPU I ever had, and I had the power supply I chose very high power, but it wasn't like exactly a good
Yeah,
PSU, and for some reason it had a floppy drive power connector on it.
yeah,
But it looks a lot like a fan header, not a fan header, but a fan plug.
yeah. I know what you mean.
So I plugged that into a fan header. When I turned on the PC, I saw a spark, and then nothing. So I thought I killed everything.
Yeah.
But then I had the genius idea to turn the power supply off and on again. I unplugged it from the fan header, and it worked. All of those parts still work, by the way.
You're lucky, by
All
the
of
way,
them do.
because that would normally fry a motherboard with a bad power
Yes.
supply. I've done that plenty in the past with crappy
Now,
power
I
supplies.
actually did have to replace that power supply eventually because the power at the dorm that I was in at my first 2 semesters of college, for some reason, the power supply just didn't like the electricity. So I got like a gold power supply, and I don't have to worry about floppy connectors anymore.
Yeah.
Once
That
again,
power supply
another
was from
reason to
2015.
get a UPS with Line Interactive. Just anyone out there, there's a lot of standby power supplies. Make sure it says Line Interactive and not standby.
That will
definitely
not
help condition your power.
Yes, but that will not prevent you from plugging in a floppy connector into a fan header and killing your PC.
No, I mean, if you're an
so
idiot,
don't do that.
nothing can help if you're an idiot.
Wait,
yeah?
hang on, Jim. Hang on a minute. I don't like the implication. You answer the question. What's your favorite CPU?
I would say I have 2 that I can't choose between, them being the Q6600 Intel
Oh, that's a good choice.
and the Intel 2500K.
Whoa, what are you, a shill?
I would say,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Today I'm a
Sponsored,
shill.
totally.
Sponsored by Intel today. No, honestly, I would say the Q6600 probably was my favourite CPU. No doubt the 2500K was an absolute beast and very, very well priced. But also my Q6600 was very well priced as well. I got that on a
Did
deal.
you not?
£200.
Did you not have an Athlon?
I had an Athlon 6000 Black Edition. I had an Athlon 4800 XP, 4800 plus XP. I had a K62 at 550 megahertz, and what else did I have? I had a bunch of Pentiums as well. I had a Pentium 4, believe it or not.
Oh my god!
I
actually
had the
a Pentium 4.
K62 500, and
Yeah.
I overclocked it to 550.
550,
Oh,
yeah. I
That
got
was
the
burning
550.
fast.
10% overclock, yeah. Not
Oh,
bad,
yeah.
no?
The integrated graphics in my first APU ran faster than that.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
scary when you think
for
about it.
my CPU history, I mean, I've always done more on the CPU side than GPU. Like I said, I had the 5770, 6770, those kinds of things, very mid-range. It's funny to think about now, $150 GPU being mid-range.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, I would get these cheap GPUs because they would, play World of Warcraft and StarCraft and Diablo and all those, Blizzard games, as well as some of the more other games that I played, but they weren't very graphic intensive because I kind of liked the retro gaming. Yeah, but I would focus more on the CPU side of things. Like I upgraded from an Athlon to the E6600
Yeah.
when they first launched, and then I upgraded that to a Q6600 when that was available. I set on that Q6600 due to budget until I got a 3770K, and once again, top of the line desktop CPU, and then I got the 4770K and gave my wife the 3770K. And I stayed on that 4770K due to budget and marginal upgrades, be all the way up until Ryzen came out, and I got that 2300X, and that was such a huge jump in performance.
Yeah.
The people that are still holding out on the 2500K, they don't know what is they're missing out on. I mean, just changing the CPU to another 4-core with 8 thread or something, or even just an i5 8000 series or something, they would get such a phenomenal increase in performance that they just don't know.
The 2500K was an amazing CPU, but it was well past its best. I mean, 5 years it's been past its best, I would say. Yeah.
Way past. And even with the 3900X right now, I still think that 1700X was a really good upgrade. Such a phenomenal jump forward.
Well, the fact is, you can now pick up a 3300X, which absolutely crushes the 2500K for like $120. So that pretty much says it all for that.
If you're still on the 2500K, you really don't compute as much as you think you do.
Aurelian, what were you going to say?
I would agree. I love I'm having home the 3700X, and I love it. But my favorite processor ever, not necessarily because at the time I was thinking about processors per se, but it is the one that introduced me to the world of, I have not seen a computer before. So it was a 286. I saw at my mother's work, there was a workstation there, and I don't know why I was visiting her, and I don't remember, she gave me a game to play. Was it Minesweeper or Pac-Man or something? I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I was mesmerized. It is what, when I saw it, I was thinking, I want to do this. I want to be somehow involved with using these tools, one way or another. So, I'm going melancholic on this. So
that would have been like either 8 or 16 megahertz probably as well.
It had this turbo button.
I was going to say.
It's amazing when you can just turbo your machine.
But apparently the turbo made it slower, in actual fact.
Why?
I don't know, but apparently that's what it was. Yeah, the turbo actually slowed it down. I've no idea. I mean, you're going to have to Google that one for a bit of to figure it out. But yeah, apparently...
I'm going to have to delve into the archives.
Yeah.
Get a history book.
Even with the 386s as well, they often had turbos between 16 and 33, but for some reason, pressing turbo made the computer slower. At least that's what I read that. Maybe it's just one of those old wives' tales or an urban legend. But
I think the wives' tale was that the turbo button did anything other than change the display, because it seemed like a placebo button to me.
Yeah.
That's all it seemed like.
I could believe that for sure.
So that's the last question.
That's the last question.
Do you want to have some weird questions from me?
Just one. Just one.
Just the one?
Pick the best one.
Save
the rest for next week.
Hopefully this one isn't dark like the last time.
No. Yeah. Okay. Something light. Something actually. House by the ocean or in the mountains?
Mountains. Are we supposed to explain ourselves? I don't think we have to.
Oh, that is a tough one.
I kind of already live in the mountains, technically. The Appalachians are short, but they're mountains.
I mean, imagine this. Don't imagine urbanized areas. So imagine like kind of very rural, very isolated place by the ocean,
but I don't want to
in the mountains.
I don't want to get.
You have all the facilities. I'm not talking about. You have all the comforts you want, but you want to hear the ocean, or do you want to smell the fresh air from the mountains?
Do I want to get eaten by a mountain lion, or do I want to drown in
a tidal wave?
I was thinking along those lines as well, Matthew, because I don't like heights, which is obviously up in the mountains. Yeah, I've talked about this before.
You don't have to.
I don't really like water either. I don't like water either, to be honest. So
you live in a cave?
I do like views, however. And obviously being a Scotsman, we've got plenty of mountains there as well, and we're surrounded by sea too. So
you live in Sweden, you got plenty of mountains too.
Yeah, there's plenty of mountains and sea in Sweden as well. I would go for. If we can truly get everything, including our ultra-fast broadband and stuff like
that. Both live in Norway.
I'll take my chances with the mountain lion.
Yeah, it's mountains hands down for me.
Oh God, I still don't know.
For me, it's difficult to pick. I wouldn't. I grew up in the mountain, hence when I hear the sea or the ocean, I love the sound. I love to sleep on that sound. But I miss the view in the mountain, so it's very hard for me to pick.
If I had kids, which I don't, but if I did, I would choose mountains. And therefore, I will probably just go with the sea in this case.
No, Jim, how could you?
Traitor.
I've got to. You know me, I'm the contrarian of the group. Broccoli and Pepsi and stuff.
You are not welcome in the Mountain Boys gang.
Honestly, mountains would be a good choice as well, because that kind of scenery just looks absolutely incredible.
All right, so that's it then.
That's us.
Yep. Well, thank you guys for joining us for the podcast today. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and all the other stuff. Throw comments, of course. If you guys want to answer any of the questions we answered, throw them in the comments below. And we will see you in the next one.
Catch you later, guys. 3, 2, 1, stop.